Hello, in this episode of the DownShift presented by Dan, Lockie, Nathan and myself, KT, we're going to review the Zandvoort Grand Prix, the thrills, the spills, and the quiet reflection of some drivers taking some time out amongst the sand dunes. And an exciting finish for one Isack Hadjar taking his first podium.
So it's lights out.
Drop the clutch.
And let's get racing.
Hello and welcome to the Downshift as we're reviewing the Zandvoort Grand Prix, where we saw an exciting race for what was probably the most exciting race we've had this season so far. What did you think, boys?
I'd agree with that. It was overtaking. I mean, they said there was a little bit of weather, but honestly, the 4 specks of rain that fell on the thing, I don't think we could really count, especially the accuracy of Zach sort of leaning out the back of the thing with his hand out trying to test what was following. Weather didn't really play a part into it, but certainly with a few safety car incidents and things like that, it was probably one of the better Grand Prix to actually watch for the year.
Yeah, the safety car saved that race from being boarding.
So if we look at it, we'll start, before we get into the results, we'll look at qualifying, where we had Lando Norris set a track record, quickly followed by Oscar Piastri, who one-upped him with a 13 millisecond improvement, taking out the track record. But looking in regards to qualifying, it was pretty interesting. I think before the race, we actually jumped on the sim, and it was nice to see that some of us do similar driving lines to some of the Formula One experts.
You mean spinning into a fence?
Driving through the gravel.
To be fair, I missed the same corners they did on practices, so it worked out well.
And so if we look at the expertise of the drivers, we saw Lance Stroll in true form, where we saw a crash in FP2 with the engineers working till 1 a.m. to get the car ready for qualifying, only for him to then go and crash the car again, drive into the pits, and then say, oh, well, I guess I'll jump out of the car now, while they were trying to fix the car.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but if my son had crashed a car on a Friday or Saturday, I wouldn't be handing him the keys on Sunday.
It'd be a grounding, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Fair call. Yep.
You better walk.
But I was so frustrated in regards to that when you see the engineers, after all that hard work, actually working on the car saying, oh, I may as well get out. No, sit in the car until qualifying is finished. And if they don't get it ready, then you get out.
Yeah, sit in the naughty corner.
So a very exciting race. We saw the result being Oscar Piastri taking pole and finishing off the race with Oscar in first, Verstappen in second, and Hadjar in third. We also saw a number of DNFs. So we saw Ferrari with a double DNF. Exciting times for Ferrari at Zandvoort, Huppy.
Exciting is maybe not the correct word, but it's a misfortune for that team. Not the best thing to happen to them prior to heading to their home race this coming weekend in Monza. But yeah, a couple of mistakes that really shouldn't have happened. So very disappointing for them.
Granted that one of those was a collision between Leclerc and Antonelli, where Antonelli had a penalty for that.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, that's a tough one. Like, Leclerc probably thought he should have had the room on the inside, and he didn't need to really leave more space. And Antonelli, you could call that a rookie mistake, I think. I don't know what you guys thought, but he seemed to understeer a bit up into Leclerc, and Hamilton just once the paint got slippery at the top there, he just overdrove the car and got loose, and that was the end of his day. So very disappointing for Ferrari for sure.
Probably wasn't the place to be overtaking. Like, sure, he had a bit of speed coming in, because he was on warm tyres at that stage, but
yep.
Yeah, just not the place for it.
Well, yeah, he didn't need to make the whole move happen during the corner. Like, he would have had plenty of exit grip, Antonelli, anyway, because he'd already done an outlap and his tyres were nice and hot. So, yeah, again, a learning experience for him. Mercedes will keep backing him, and he'll be in the car next year with them again, and hopefully not make the same mistake twice.
And I think, to Antonelli's credit too, he went to the Ferrari garage afterwards and apologised, which is, again, I think he's done that previously as well.
Yeah, classy kid. Good thing to do.
Yeah, taking ownership there. And then we saw some interesting results in the fact that we had 3 teams having 2 drivers finishing in the top 10. Lucky we've got Red Bull Aston Martin and Haas.
Yep, and if you'd asked us to name the 3 teams that would end up with that, I'm pretty sure none of us would have picked Haas, and I'm pretty sure none of us would have also picked Aston Martin to be up there. So most of us would have had either, well, definitely, well, probably more for Ferrari, Mercedes, and obviously the papayas up there as well. So we would have got them all wrong.
To be clear, it wasn't Red Bull; it was Racing Bulls.
No,
No, it was Red Bull.
Oh, it was Red Bull.
it was Red
No,
Bull.
my bad.
You finished in
You got
9th
there.
position with Max in 2nd.
Oh, sorry about that. You can maybe cut that out on the floor.
No, we'll leave your mistake in. That's fine.
Speaking of Racing Bulls, like Isack did a fantastic job in quali to stick that car in 4th place on the grid and ran an awesome race. He didn't have the pace of the front guys, obviously, but he had enough pace to keep everyone else behind him, defended well into turn 1 when he had to, and picked up the scraps, when we can talk about Lando's issue at the end of the race, but Isack was there to take 3rd place. So awesome day for him. Great day for Racing Bulls.
Yeah, it was great.
And
Great.
F1 being a race of attrition and also a race of luck, you'll take whatever you can get.
100%. It's never over. Never over until the fat lady sings or Lando's engine blows up, basically.
Great to see another Hulkenberg moment at the end for Isack, where he gets to the end. He's gotten out of the car and he's walking around. And he's sort of like, where do I go now? Where do I go now?
What do I do?
Where do I go?
What's the
And then sort of
process?
Zach was standing there, arms crossed, just looking at Oscar. Didn't even help him. Then he had to go, oh, there's my team. And he just bolted over to where his team was and started jumping around with everyone.
That was great to see. It was really good.
It was great to see. And so, Hubby, you did mention about Lando dropping out with 8 laps to go. If we look at McLaren, take us through where we saw the race finish up for the 2 drivers.
Yeah, well, obviously Oscar had a solid win. He got the Grand Slam. He qualified on pole, fastest lap, led every lap of the race and won it. So it was a very strong performance from Oscar, especially after he wasn't the fastest for the first 3 practice sessions. It really looked like Lando sort of had the wood on him a little bit, but he got up there in quali and just chipped away at it, and awesome result. And look, it's a tough track to pass on. Like we saw, if the cars have got similar performance or similar tyre dig. So Lando was obviously pushing at the end to try and catch up because the only opportunity you had was to try and overtake Oscar to get the win. Couldn't get there, and all of a sudden we heard on the broadcast that he was complaining in his cockpit about the smell of something burning or oil or something like that, which is never a great smell in a race car, speaking from experience. Anyway, the next thing you
Especially
know,
not when you can see the smoke filling the cockpit as you're
left a
driving.
trail of oil down the track and the engine blew. So I think, Lando's had some mechanical misfortune over the past year or so, and we've seen 1 or 2 people point that out on Twitter over the past 24 hours. Conspiracy theorists, maybe, because Oscar seems to have avoided mechanical issue, but maybe Oscar treats the car better. We don't know. It just could be the luck of the draw. But in any case, Lando did not get any points from this round, and that elevated Oscar's lead in the championship to 34 points, I believe, now, which is quite a decent lead.
Good little lead, isn't it? Good margin. But that's typical Oscar, isn't it? Like he tends to be building whenever he's racing. He's not necessarily leaps and bounds. But he's just honing away at the edges and just getting that little bit here, a little bit there, and then just gets a good lap and
Consistency.
puts all the corners together and nails it.
I think you said he was just chipping away at it, like after practice and into quali. He just said there was just 1 or 2 corners where he had to do something different and do his own thing and just found a bit of extra pace. And even on that quali lap, he still made a few small mistakes and still got there in the end. So, yeah, he's just doing well.
I do wonder a little bit whether, because Lando was chasing, didn't have clean air and was maybe working a bit harder to catch Oscar, whether he's driving the car a bit harder potentially to cause some mechanical issues, or it's just like it is just luck of the draw.
Well, definitely he's going to be in hot air behind Oscar for the whole race. So the engine will be working harder and hotter, but I don't know. Never know. McLaren, I don't think have announced what the issue was, but as it stands, like everyone knows what it's like in Formula One. If you're behind another car, you're going to get hot air from that car in front, and your engine will get hot sometimes. Brakes will get hot. So if you can put it on pole and lead the race, that's the place to be. So Oscar earned it,
But will McLaren actually release what the problem was, or will they keep that in house at the moment?
Look, in interviews, yeah, if people are asking about it, they might come out with a reason, but it's it's interesting that other teams, as we noted in previous episodes, we've talked to other teams with Mercedes engines have had problems. Mercedes themselves have had a couple issues, and McLaren seemed to be the only Mercedes engine team that didn't really have any reliability problems. But, they had one on the weekend. So don't know whether it's something to do with the engine itself or, like you said, Dan, maybe it was just pushing too hard to try and catch Oscar at the end of the race.
And so my challenge here is that obviously McLaren's saying free to race, but, when you've got both of the drivers who have proven themselves through the start of the race, and there's obviously a clear lead that McLaren has over the rest of the field. McLaren has a very comfortable lead in the Constructors' Championship, but is this where team orders would come in and actually aid the Constructors' Champion by saying, guys, you've earned first and second, let's just hold that, and we may have seen Lando finish the race without the engine failure.
Nah, they've got a couple more races, I reckon, before they bring that in. They'll want to see if they can go head-to-head a bit longer, and then they'll line them up after that.
I
Still
don't think
9
so.
races to go.
I think McLaren will just let them race to the end. But if you're thinking longer term, like if you're Lando in that race, Zandvoort's a hard place to overtake unless you've got a specific advantage, like young, fresh tyres or a huge pace advantage in the car. So he knew it was going to be very difficult to overtake Oscar unless Oscar made a mistake. You only get a certain number of power units every year. Like you want to look after the car, you want to give it some sympathy. Maybe he should have just backed off a bit, cruised to the end, saved his engine, not pushed so hard at the end. He might be in a better position next race or the race after if he's looked after the car and the engine a bit better. We don't know. But I don't know. It's at the moment, Oscar's got a 34-point lead, which is more than a race win. So I saw someone point out today that even if McLaren finish 1 and 2 for the rest of the season, Lando would have to win 7 out of the next 9 races to take the world title off Oscar. So it's a pretty handy lead to have. If Oscar can notch up 2 or 3 more wins, he's in a really, really good position to take that title.
Yeah, it's a tall ask for any driver. I mean, look, obviously we had a DNF from Lando. You could have the same from Oscar. It could be a collision, but to win 7 out of the 9, that's a tall order.
As you run out of races, you can't afford to up.
No. I mean, look, that like you said, they've got the Drivers' Championship locked up. So if one car crashes out, okay, it's not going to affect the manufacturer's title if one car gets knocked out. If both cars have got such a lead in a race or are so far ahead, you don't need to do management of those 2 cars to keep a competitor behind you because Oscar and Lando could be 10 seconds out in the lead at Monza, for example. So maybe McLaren are happy to go, do you know what, boys? Go for it. If you crash, you're going to screw up your own driver's title championship. So, we've got the manufacturer's title sewed up. Go for your life. Maybe that's the attitude.
And that's where the money is in the constructors and the glory is in the drivers.
Absolutely. But Oscar's got one hand on that trophy already, I think. It's getting down to the business end.
As long as he puts it down carefully.
Yeah.
Unlike Isack.
Hadjar's not holding it for him.
I think
How
that's
flimsy is that trophy, though? It just touched on the ground and the bottom snapped off.
Isn't that 2 in 2 years that have been broken from this Grand Prix?
Yeah, you've got Norris who broke the one. Goodness, what was the race?
Or was it the Hungaroring one? Yeah, we've had a couple of broken trophies. So one thing we have learned this weekend is they need to make trophies stronger.
Don't make them out of porcelain.
Oh, it looks like paper mache or something. That literally, when you saw him put it on the ground, it was so gentle and it just snapped in 2. Like, oh my God!
Yeah, but the base of it was just like it was tiny. So of course it's going to snap like that.
Maybe it's a bit of a monkey because you had when Hulkenberg won the trophy. What did he end up doing? Just a little Lego trophy.
Oh, he got a Lego one.
Ended up in pieces as well.
At least you could put that one back together.
Maybe they need to produce like a cheap plastic copy for the podium presentation and give them the real one afterwards.
I know someone who can maybe 3D print one for him.
Plenty of people who can do that.
But we're seeing the midfield battle intensify, and from that perspective is with the result of Aston Martin, they've increased their points tally. Williams still also got some points out of the race, so we're seeing that potentially we might see the battle for 5th coming around Azerbaijan or Singapore, and we might see.
Is it time for another graph? Are we getting another graph up?
Sure. So for those watching on YouTube.
I shouldn't encourage him. I'm sorry.
No, come on. Everyone loves a graph. But
sin bin.
Putting that up there, you can see the polynomial
Polynomial.
That'll do. Yeah, I got it right the first time. So, but you can see there with the result of this weekend, both Aston and Kick are looking to be able to challenge Williams in a few races' time. So if Williams continues just to plateau off, they're putting at risk that fifth place position with potentially two teams overtaking them, and then also potentially a third team overtaking with the Racing Bulls, which will cost them quite a bit of money. So we're probably looking at about $30 odd million in prize money.
I mean, Albon did pretty well in that race, and like Carlos was on for a better finish as well if it wasn't for the incidents that he had. So, unfortunately, they gave up some points to Aston Martin, but the Aston Martins actually did quite well. I know Alonso sort of screwed himself over with that safety car at the end because he'd pitted, but he was frustrated in a train of cars, and strategy was difficult. And there was I think we had two real safety cars and a couple of virtual safety cars. So there was a bit of action there for the strategists to try and work out what to do. But
well, that's probably the issue with the midfield cars at this point is they're all so close to each other they can't actually even overtake. Like that was what Alonso was frustrated about. He actually put himself in the pits to try and get himself some clean air and some clean track to attack them. But he goes, I think he was stuck behind Tsunoda, and he goes, Tsunoda needs to take whoever he was chasing. He goes, because this is ridiculous. We're just sitting here going around in circles. But he goes, that track is too hard to overtake, and there was just no actual room to do it. So
So Alonso was stuck at the back of the traffic jam this time.
He
wasn't causing the traffic jam.
No.
He had the flashing lights and the horn going, and nothing was working. So
hopefully Monza's a better circuit for some overtaking, especially with that long main straight. You've got the two DRS zones, the last two straights there, so we should see a bit more action.
A nice dive on the brakes, and we'll see how they go.
I mean, one thing I didn't notice so much yesterday when watching the broadcast was that there's some really good stories coming out of this, which is Albon, Beerman, and Stroll. I know we've talked about them, but just, what we got, plus 14 for Beerman. He had a cracker of a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well.
Yeah, that has too.
The strategy worked out for them, and they got some good results,
Well, they went so deep on that first set of hard tyres, it was ridiculous. They did like 50 laps or something, didn't they?
I think it was, it was about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we look in regards to Beerman, 53 laps and Ocon 52 laps on the hards. That's
insane.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, especially at the start of the race when the car's like heavy, it's full of fuel. So that's a long stint on hards with a heavy car to make it, and 19 lap old mediums at the end for a bit of a sprint finish. They did a good job.
And you had a lot of people taking the advantage under the safety cars to be able to come in and do those tyre changes. Piastri and Norris both did exactly the same, double stacking. But we did see some challenges in the pits for the two of them as there was issue with the front jack. So we had the
Christian,
green light.
You wouldn't have a table for that graph, would you, to show us the pit stops there at all, would you?
Here, hang on, which side is it? Here's what I prepared earlier. So, and you look at that is when you're talking about the championship leader in McLaren, they are on average for this race, 8th in regards to average pit stop speed. And if you take away Williams, where obviously that's where we had Carlos serving some penalties, you had Antonelli serving some penalties. McLaren are in 8th position with a 3.5 second average pit stop. So quite slow.
They did, because their cars were close together. They had a little bit of a double stacking scenario going on, which does make it a bit tougher for them. But
Christian doesn't care. That's just not counted apparently. So
okay, all right.
Getting under safety, you're probably not critically getting your pit stops blisteringly fast either, are you?
Well, they'll still want to pit as fast as possible.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And it was nice to see Lando feigning some concern for the Jackman after he got back out on the track to say, was he okay after I almost ran him over?
Feigning concern. Wow.
Well, to be fair, that actually wasn't his fault because they gave him the green light to go, and the Jack guy hadn't been taken the full away. So he actually had the green light to go and didn't actually, well, I'm not saying realise, but he was unaware of the fact that hadn't been fully removed. So that was actually team's fault, not entirely his fault.
Yeah. Is there a graph of the level of feigning there? Or
no,
that'll be up later.
Let me work on that one for another time. But
if you watch the credits at the end, it'll be up in the credits at the end.
And so for the last element that our expert weatherman had talked about was the weather. Let us down a little bit, Lockie.
Look, from the meteorological data that I was using at the time, there was supposed to be more unprecedented and unsettling weather, but it didn't really occur. They were all talking about, the rain's going to come through in lap 7, 8, 9, 10, and it was a couple of specks on the windshield, and then it moved on. So it worked out better from that perspective, that there wasn't a huge downpour and everyone didn't have to dive in for some intermittence. But it was actually a fairly clean race in terms of that from weather-wise.
It was really good weather
Wait till next weekend, though.
Yeah, it was really good weather, so 3 of the drivers got to, sit on the beach and watch the race for a bit.
Wow, two of them sat there for a while.
Yeah, you had Chuck, who was up on top of a sand dune on his mobile phone, kicking back, chilling out, while Lando was having some quiet reflection with his helmet in his hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't know what that meant. Could he not get his helmet off? Is that why he was a bit undisturbed, or sort of just sitting there in his hands?
He was feigning concern for himself, for his world title chances. Just watched his world title chances go up in smoke.
He was ruining the title championship graph that was coming.
Christian's got to crucify me for this on the podcast.
Oh, no.
So, Lando, if you're listening, we understand. So with Oscar taking out first, followed by Max Verstappen and then Isack Hadjar, that puts Oscar 34 points ahead in the championship, with Max 70 points behind Lando at this stage. And then George 21 points behind Max, and Charles 33 behind George. McLaren holds a convincing lead with a gap to Ferrari with 324 points. But what is also interesting, we're now seeing from Mercedes 12 points behind Ferrari.
That would be a concern for them. The fact. So you look and go 1 and 2 for the drivers. That's pretty much done. It's going to be now Charles versus Russell for sort of third, fourth in that. But the fact that Mercedes are coming up that fast on Ferrari, I think in the constructors, that will be a bit of a concern for them.
If Antonelli can minimise these mistakes for the last 9 races of the season, it could be very interesting.
So with that I think is a perfect opportunity for us to go and visit our predictions and the results from those predictions.
I think we've finished. I've run out of time already.
Come on, mate. You got to own them. Own your bad decisions.
I didn't even draw him out of a hat. That's the worst part.
Well, the hat did deliver.
So come on, let's.
So Schwags, you got 2 points with Max finishing in second position there.
Oh, well done.
Oh, my goodness.
Good job, Magic Hat.
That's like a record haul for me, I think.
We'll have to have a graph to show that.
A graph, yeah, no.
Lockie, you took 3 points for Oscar taking first place. You had Lando taking pole, Lando taking second, and George in third.
Yeah.
Huppy, 4 points for you.
I was on for the full set too until Lando's engine blew up. Bloody hell. Anyway.
And speaking of the full set, I was that close
you were
as well.
Close. Very close.
If Isack did not finish, I had George in third place, but I've taken 6 points with Oscar for pole, Oscar for the win, and Max for second. Yeah. So if we look at the leaderboard, there has been a little bit of movement here. So Huppy, you're still holding first place with 35 points, but I've been able to just slip into second at 32 points over Lockie, your 31. And Schwags up to 15 points.
Almost there, Dan.
Almost there.
The lucky hat strategy's going along.
Dividends.
Jeez, you're generous. Paid dividends. Wow.
Someone needs a wooden spoon at the end. Come on.
So with that, as we'd mentioned, we have got Monza coming up this weekend. So be sure to like and subscribe. Catch our next episode as soon as it does drop. We'll be previewing the Monza Grand Prix, everything that's coming up with Ferrari, and also the title championship for Oscar and Lando. So be sure to like, subscribe, and never miss a lap. And we'll see you on the next lap. That's the checkered flag for this episode of The Downshift. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us in the paddock. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a lap. And hey, if we've earned it, drop us a 5-star review. It really helps us climb the grid and reach more motorsport fans. Until next time, keep it fast, keep it fun, and we'll catch you on the next lap.